Mr. Chikovani, welcome to our Mediabox. So your report on organized crime and migrants has just adopted in the Parliamentary Assembly session. And in your report, you especially underline the network of migrant smugglers and their effects on the irregular migration. And which is important there is, I think, to underline and make a distinction between the migrant smuggling and human trafficking that you mentioned on the report. Let's start from there. What are the differences between two of them?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having in the Mediabox and your attention to my report and the resolution. It is very important. I mean, even in legal terms by the UN documents, this is defined what is the smuggling, what is the human trafficking, and what is the smuggling. We have to understand and realize that currently the nature of smuggling that we have to face is of absolutely different one. You cannot, I mean, if you perceive the organized crime groups, you should not be perceiving the groups that is operating on the country of departure, country of transit, and the country of arrival. No, it's the different small groups who cooperate with each other and find each other for one or two endeavors and then lose the ties. So it makes really hard for the law enforcement to coordinate all of the efforts and make sure that they fight effectively because they are very mobile and they are utilizing all available possibilities. It's not an organized structure. Of course, there is an organized structure in the countries that are receiving and in the countries that are of departure, but they don't permanently connect to each other. It's very flexible institution, and which is very asymmetric in its nature, so it's really hard to battle.
And how migrant smugglers became, or let's say are becoming very effective and powerful in this society? Could you say that it's lack of governance or politics?
I think it's when the report was discussed, it's important to note that the combination of words is the root causes. It was mostly mentioned two words within the hemicycle, and it's right. It's true. I mean, we have to fight the root causes. I mean, as far as there is a demand, there is going to be the market. But plainly saying, there are people who want to come to the European countries, and there will be others who will be providing that. That is very important to say. For sure, we have to say that these people who are perpetrators of the crimes, they are very, 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 I would say, imaginative. Their imagination does not have a limit. I mean, they're using absolutely every possibility to promote their illegal activities. For example, I mean, Facebook, it's a harmless thing. It's a very nice thing which I have. It's a social network. Actually, you could see the smugglers, how they advertise on Facebook their activities. Of course, the Facebook has been very responsible, and the others, when they address, it goes down. But still, I mean, why I bring this example? Because they are trying to utilize every possibility. I mean, if you heard, it's the ghost ships. I mean, they put the number of people on the ships, which they abandon near the territorial waters of the European countries, and the ship is being abordaged by the police officers, which have nothing to do other than bring these people to the continental Europe. So this is the very different nature of each group, how it operates.
So this is the reality of that migrant smugglers is a very big problem and issue. But on the other hand, we have also another reality. It's the perception of the society on migrants. So even in the name, when we look at the report, organized crime and migrants, so maybe it gives an impression that there's a linkage between organized crime and migrants. So I think it's you are not supporting that idea, of course.
No, not at
all.
So
how can we change the perception of the society?
This report in particular, one has to realize it does not talk at all that migrants create the organized crime groups. No, this is the people who try to save their lives, to try to escape the hostilities, who try to escape the war and try to escape the deaths, trying to come to the calmer and safer world. And that's where comes in the organized crime groups. That's where the organized crime groups try to capitalize on their tragedy. That's why it's very important. That's why we have to think, and I think it's very important that we have to take into account the Madame Dumairy's report, which was also adopted in the hemicycle, is that we have to make sure that we establish hotspots beyond Europe. I mean, those hotspots will help us identify the people that are in immediate need to make sure that they have to flee their country of residence because there is a clear and direct threat, and will be ability to identify that these migratory flows will not also be used by the other, I would say, perpetrators that do not have good endeavors when they come to Europe.
And to finish, I think I would like to ask you your recommendations to the Assembly, but in 2 points, to tackle or to fight with the migration smugglers issues, and what can a parliamentary assembly do for the migration crisis as well? How can we separate both them?
Okay, my answer to you would be that it will not come as a surprise, and it will be the quite ordinary answer for every other report that is produced within the hemicycle of the Council of Europe Parliamentary Assembly. We need to act. I mean, these reports and these resolutions should not be gone to the shelf. This is something that has to turn into a recommendation. This is something that has to ignite the will of the Committee of Ministers to act, because it's very important. I mean, in the hemicycle, while discussing, we've been touching this issue, and a number of my colleagues have said that, are we paying due respect to the importance and the urgency of this matter? But this is what we can do here. I mean, this is what can be done here, and it's done. So there is others' turn to take, and it's our turn, and make sure that further on we make sure that we will push for this agenda in our own parliaments back at home, and also push the Council of Europe's other bodies to make sure that they interact with the other European institutions and tackle this matter.
Thank you for joining us,
Thank you very
Mr.
much.
Chikovani.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.